I will just briefly introduce you, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna. So we are very glad to welcome His Grace Gokula ISKCON Jubi Temple in Bombay. And Prabhuji is actually a postgraduate from IIT, and he is very intellectual and a philosophical person. And he also teaches Bhakti Shastri and other courses in BIG. And I have personally attended many of Prabhuji's classes, and what I like about his classes is his very nice and simplified way of teaching. So even complex philosophical subjects he presents in a very nice and simple manner with relevant examples and analogies and stories. So now the science of realization is a deep philosophical subject, so we felt that Prabhuji would be the best person to explain this in a nice way to practicing devotees. So we are very happy to have him in our science of self-realization class. Thank you so much, Prabhuji, for accepting this service, and we welcome you once again, Prabhuji. Over to Gopaleshwar.
Thank you, Rajanandan Prabhu. I am happy to be with all of you for this course. So, since this is the first day with this batch, maybe I request an introduction from each one of you. You can tell your name, your location, and also since how many years you are practicing Krishna consciousness. So that will help me to share my content. And maybe for the duration, at least for the duration you are sharing your introduction, you can keep your video on so I identify. Yeah, please go ahead one by one. So I am not calling it individually, you can go ahead one by one voluntarily.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, I am Shweta, and I am in Faridabad near to Delhi, and I am very new to Krishna consciousness. It is just through these classes that I have started my journey. That is where it is. Hare Krishna Prabhuji.
Okay, nice, thank you. Next.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, Dandavat Pranam.
Hare Krishna.
My name is Amrita, and currently I'm staying in Vrindavan from last 4 months, and I'm in Krishna consciousness from last 3 years.
Okay, thank you.
Hare Krishna.
Maybe Mataji, your in your Zoom session, your hand is up. Was that previous one, or you want to do some?
Oh, maybe it's previous.
Okay, no problem. Next.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu Dandavat Pranam. My name is Chatura Devidas. I'm from China, Guangzhou. I entered into Krishna consciousness movement in 2015 and took initiation in 2017.
Okay. Okay, thank you, Hare Krishna. Next.
Krishna Prabhuji, Dandavat Pranam Prabhuji. I'm Srivani from Hyderabad Prabhuji. I've also attended many of your classes. I was also doing Bhakti Shastri Prabhu. And so I'm very, I really enjoy your classes, Prabhuji. And I've been into Krishna consciousness for last 4-5 years.
Okay, nice, thank you.
Thank you, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna.
Hare
Next.
Hare Krishna Prabhu, I'm Shivani Kapoor from Ahmedabad, Gujarat. I just started my Krishna conscious movement during lockdown.
Okay. Okay, thank you. Next.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, Dandavat Pranams. My name is Bethany. I am originally from Nairobi, Kenya, but relocated to the United States. I've been in ISKCON since 2016, and I'm happy to be here.
Okay, thank you. Nice. Next. Yeah, please go ahead.
Krishna Prabhu, my name is Rasamai Devi Dasi. I joined this ISKCON from 2007, Prabhu.
Okay. Thank you. Next.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, my name is Shubhala. I am 12 years old.
Okay. Where are you, Subala, located?
Located in Sri Lanka.
Sri Lanka. Okay, nice. Next.
Hare Krishna Prabhu. My name is Maria. I'm originally from Indonesia, but I live in Boston, USA, and I've been in Krishna consciousness since the last 2 years.
Okay, thank you. Next.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, my name is Jyoti Katti, and I'm from Ichalakurinchi, Kolhapur district, Maharashtra state, and I'm in Krishna conscious from last 4 years, Prabhuji.
Okay, thank you. Next.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji. I am Jishnu from Kerala, and I am practicing Krishna consciousness since when I am starting this course.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you. Nice.
But he's very sincere, Prabhu. He's chanting every day. He's coming for the chanting, and he's very sincere.
Okay, that's nice. Next. Anybody left to introduce? So we have one in the list, Varshna. Is that a student?
Varshana Prabhuji.
Yeah.
She's actually sister of Subala.
Sorry?
She's the sister of Subala Prabhuji.
Okay, you want to introduce yourself, Varshana?
Prabhuji, Varshana is not currently there. She'll come in few minutes.
Okay, okay, no problem. Okay, thank you very much for your introductions and welcome to the course. So, I will sing Radha Madhav and then we'll have a class and then question answers. And since this is a mixed group, some are new, some are few years in Krishna consciousness, and some are plenty years in Krishna consciousness. So, the content will be both beginners and advanced, and you will get more from me by questions. So, not everything will be there in a class, but after the class, if there are questions, you will get more from me. If there are no questions, then that's how certain things will end up not being discussed because mixed audience is there. So, feel free to ask any questions and anything you want to go into details, anything you want to, any topic I touch on a beginner level. If you want more further details, since you are already practicing Krishna consciousness, feel free. And anything which is feeling very hi-fi and you are new to Krishna consciousness, feel free to ask again and we can make it simplified. So, I hope that is okay. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari, Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari, Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradhari, Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradhari. जय श्री श्री राधा माधव की जय, श्रीला प्रभुपाद की जय। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ओम अज्ञानतिमिरन्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकय चक्षु उन्मीलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। नमः ओं विष्णुपदाय कृष्णप्रेष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदांत स्वामी इति नामिने। नमस्ते सारस्वती देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेषा शून्यवादी पाश्चात्य देशतारिणे। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्त वृंद। हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। Hare Krishna. So, science of self-realization. This particular topic, as well as there is a book called The Science of Self-Realization by Srila Prabhupada, based on Bhagavad Gita. So, we will be taking the topics mentioned in this book, and the content will be from Bhagavad Gita and Bhagavatam, which this book is based on. So you can as well read as part of your learning. So the first topic in Bhagavad Gita and in Science of Self-Realization book and in spiritual life is to know the self. Who am I? Even in schools, as soon as the students, the children, they learn language, alphabets, words, forming sentences, as soon as they learn to express in a particular language, the first thing they write is an essay called myself. At least in my school in India it is there, myself. So the student is told to write about himself or herself. I am a boy. My name is this. I study in this school. I study in this standard. Myself. So the beginning of knowledge is to know oneself. Who am I? That's where Bhagavad Gita starts. In the Bhagavad Gita, Arjuna, he has come in the battlefield of Kurukshetra to fight on behalf of Yudhishthira Maharaj, his brother and king. And he sees there is a big army opposite to his army, ready to fight. So he requests Krishna, who is his chariot driver, to take his chariot in between the two armies, so that he can carefully watch and see who has come to fight him. And Krishna takes the chariot in between the two armies, and Arjuna sees his grandsire Bhishma Pitama, his spiritual master Dronacharya, his brother Duryodhan, his uncle Shakuni, and his Guru Putra Ashwathama, and so many other relatives and friends, near and dear ones. And when he realizes I have to fight and kill them, he becomes highly confused. He becomes highly stressed. So much so that tears come from his eyes. His mouth becomes dry. His heart becomes restless. His hands and legs become weak, and he is standing, but he sits down, and there's Gandiva in his hand, which is slipping from his hand and falls on the floor of the chariot. So much stress. And he speaks to Krishna, concluding that I will not fight, Govinda, I will not fight. How can I kill my own dear and near ones? How can I kill Bhishma Pitama? How can I kill Dronacharya? How can I kill my brother Duryodhan? So Krishna responds to him saying that you are a fool number one. You are speaking like a big compassionate Pandita, scholar, but you are fool number one. Why? He says because soul doesn't get killed and body is already dead. So Arjuna's confusion was because he was seeing the bodies. And Krishna's clarification is because there is a difference between body and the person, the soul. So the first teaching of Bhagavad Gita is I am not this body. The basic false understanding which is existing in this material world is that we are this body. I am a boy, I am a girl, I am an Indian, I am American, I am Chinese, I am young, I am old, I am husband, I am wife, I am daughter, I am son, I am sister, I am brother, I am brahmachari, I am sannyasi, I am MBA, graduate, engineer, lawyer, doctor, manager, temple president. All this is false. This is all bodily, white, black, fat, thin, literate, illiterate. This is not I, this is not we. Each one of us is an individual soul which is different from this body. But we don't realize that. Krishna explains to Arjuna that just as each one of us had a baby body in the lap of the mother, we all had. And we remember that we had a small body in the lap of the mother, and that body grew up and we played and went to school, and further it grew up, we have a young body, and then we'll have an old body, and then finally death will come. The body will be finished. So there is change happening in the body. Everybody knows and experiences the change. So if I am experiencing change, that means I am different from that change. If I am experiencing changes in the body, so I am different from the body who is seeing the change, the seer. And that personality is an individual soul residing inside the body, different from the body. Body is matter, soul is spiritual. And there is difference between matter and spiritual. We'll come to that. So just like, imagine you go to visit somebody's house where death has occurred. Say the father of the house died. So when you go to the room, when you go to the house, what will you see? All the relatives have assembled and the dead body is on the bed and everybody crying. So you enter that room and you see they are crying and shouting, my husband passed away, my son left me, my father left me. Different relatives are crying. So you go to the wife and say, why are you crying? And she says, my husband left me. You say that is not true. Your husband is there. Everything is there. Nothing is missing. 2 eyes, 2 ears, 1 nose, 2 hands, 2 legs, 2 kidneys, lungs, heart, brain, hair, fingers. Nothing is missing. The weight yesterday and the weight today is same. The height is same, the weight is same, the length and breadth is same, the volume is same, the dimensions are same, nothing is missing. So why are you crying? What will wife say? Oh, this is not my husband. This is my husband's body. He to left me in the morning. Right? She will say that. So who left? What is missing? And that is the soul. The living entity, the individual soul is missing. Whole life, the wife thought, this person is my husband. But today she said, this is not my husband, this is my husband's body. There was somebody inside the husband's body. There was somebody inside this body who was my husband, and he left me in the morning. Right? Whole life she identifies that body as my husband. But today she says, this body is not my husband. There was somebody inside the body who left me my husband. So at the time of death, she comes to know the real relationship. My real husband is that soul inside. Whole life she thinks this body is the husband, but now she says that soul is my husband. So why we have to wait till somebody's death to come to know this information, to come to know this knowledge? We should know it today. That whomever we are relating to is actually the soul. If the soul doesn't continue to stay in the body, the soul leaves the body, that body is useless. That body has no value. So when the soul enters the body, that is called birth, or technically conception in the womb. And when the soul leaves the body, that is called death. Soul doesn't die and soul doesn't take birth. It is a body which is taking birth and death. It is just the presence and absence of the soul. Because of soul, there is life symptoms in the body. As soon as soul leaves the body is death. There is no more breathing, there is no more heart pumping, there is no more brain acting, there is no more activity in nervous system. And there is no more growth or any other thing. Body starts decaying. The luster in the eyes is gone. The luster in the skin is, the brightness in the skin is gone. And we don't love dead body. We go and cremate. We burn or bury. That body has no value. If today somebody comes and tells you to sell your finger, for how many dollars we will send? $100, $1,000, $10,000, $1 lakh? No, we will not sell. No way. No, the finger has a very big value. The body has very big value. After the soul leaves, the body has zero value. In fact, we have to pay money to dispose it. After the soul leaves, no value. We have to throw the body, burn it, or cremate it. So the value is because of the soul. In mathematics, they teach us, if A is equal to B, then what is A minus B? Can somebody volunteer? If A is equal to B, then what is A minus B? 0, right. Both are equal. Now, if A is not equal to B, then what is A minus B? Non-zero. We don't know positive or negative, but we know it's not zero. It exists. Some existence is there. Right? So now a living person and a dead body, are they equal? No. If you take a knife and cut a living person, you are doing violence. You will go to jail. the person will feel pain. If you take a knife and cut or burn a dead person, you are not doing violence. Cremating a person, burning a dead body, cremating a dead body is considered auspicious. Good, we did it. So we behave differently with living person and dead body. The laws are different because living person and dead body are different. A is not equal to B. Living person is not equal to dead body. That is established fact. So then living person minus dead body, A minus B, when they are unequal, then that has to be a non-zero entity. Living person minus dead body has to be non-zero entity. Call it X. Whatever that X is, we don't know. But we know one thing, X is not zero. That means X exists. And that X is called soul or Atma or life energy, Jiva. And soul exists. Soul is not equal to zero. If soul doesn't exist, then living person is equal to dead body. And that's not true. We don't behave with the dead body same as living person. Okay, let me ask you IQ question. I'll tell you a small story and at the end ask you a question. So please be attentive. So in this story you are the hero. Say just to make it comparatively simple, you are the hero, a male, each one of you, a male boy, just finished engineering and now you are doing a job with good salary. So once a boy has a good salary, good nokri, good job, what is he looking for? He is looking for chokri, he was looking for a girl to marry, looking for a partner. So you are looking for a partner. And it happens when you are looking for something, you search it everywhere. So at the bus stop you see a girl, you say, oh, this is a good candidate, no, little tall. Oh, this is good, no, not so good. This seems to be perfect. Oh no, she is wearing Mangal Sutra, married already. So you go on searching for candidates. So one day you sit in your office and read the popular newspaper, say Times of India, and on the front page there is an article, a 19-year-old so-and-so girl became Miss India and her beautiful photograph is there. And you realize this girl stays in my neighbor in the same street and she is very attractive. And you think, oh, if I marry her, my life will be set. She is beautiful, she is educated and now she is Miss India, money will flow in. So you think she is my neighbor, I may have an opportunity. So in the evening you dress yourself nicely and go to the neighbor's house, the girl's house, knock the door, the father opens, he knows you already on the same street you are staying, so he welcomes you inside and offers you tea and chai, coffee. And while talking you say, my dear sir, my dear uncle, I passed out engineering with very good marks and I have a very nice job and I have my own house and car and I am planning to start my own business. So he is very impressed with your career choices and future. He says, how can I help you? He said, I have come here to ask your hand of your girl. I want to marry your daughter. And the father says, get out. Since morning 100 boys have come and you are rejected. So of course you are sad, but life has to go on. You think after 1 month I can try again through some contacts. So after 15-20 days, again you are sitting in the office and reading newspaper, and on the front page there is a breaking news. Recent Miss India so and so, same girl, died in a car accident. So you get a shock. You wanted to marry her. So in the evening you again go to the father's house and the father is crying and you try to console him, and he says, look beta, 15 days before you came to my house, I know you well from the neighbor, from the street, from the neighborhood. You are a nice boy and you wanted to marry my daughter, but it was my mistake that I rejected you. So today I am rectifying my mistake. Please marry my daughter. And he gives you the dead body to marry. Now comes the question. Please think carefully and answer. You are that boy. My question is, will you marry? So you may volunteer to answer. Yes, Mataji. Raghunath Priya Mataji. Yeah. No, you will not marry. Okay, thank you. Anybody else wants to go?
Prabhuji, you may say, who will marry a dead girl?
Yeah, so that's the question. No, right?
No, yes.
Yeah. You know, I will tell you, there is very good put big profit in marrying her. There will be no cloth expenses, there will be no cosmetic expenses, and she will keep quiet. It's not easy to get a quiet wife.
Definitely no, Prabhuji.
Yeah, you will say, oh uncle, this is smelling, burn it, go, dispose it. How can you burn the person whom you love? Does that make sense? But we are ready to burn. That means our love was not for the body. Even though my attraction was because I saw the photo of the body, but actually my attraction is with the soul. As soon as the soul leaves the body, is she Miss India? Is she beautiful? No, the beauty also left the body. My attraction finished. So even though we are attracted or related to others because of the present, because of the sense data of the body, we are seeing the body, we are talking to the body, we are hearing the body, we are touching the body, we are kissing and embracing the body, but it is because of the presence of the soul that attraction is there. As soon as the soul leaves the body, the same body we want to burn as soon as possible. People don't even wait for 24 hours. They just burn as early as possible. If the body dies, if the death happens in afternoon, they burn by evening. And if it happens in the evening, they burn a maximum next day morning. Nowadays, so they burn at night also. Let's finish it. So why you want to burn somebody whom you loved? So there is soul inside the body because of which the relationship exists. But we don't realize this. I am that soul. I am different from this body. Like my pen. I say my pen. What does it mean? It means my pen, me and pen. I am the subject. Pen is the object. I am user of the pen. I am owner of the pen. But I am not this pen. I am different from this pen. My shirt. I am different from the shirt. This is my shirt. I am user and owner of the shirt, but I am not orange. I am different from this shirt. My hand. I am user and owner of the hand. This hand belongs to me, but I am not this hand. My eyes, but I am not the eyes. My body, but I am not the body. I am user and owner of the body, but I am different from the body. The soul, I am soul who is different from this body. And the basic difference between body or matter, the table, the chair, the tube light, the wall, the ceiling, the device in front of you, these are all matter. and soul. The basic difference, soul is spiritual, matter is material. The main difference is consciousness. The soul is conscious and the matter is not conscious. This is a pen. If I hit the pen will not feel pain. But if I hit here, there will be a feeling of pain. Why? Because soul is conscious. If the soul leaves the body, even if you take a knife and cut, there will be no pain. So the soul is conscious, and the proof of consciousness is the experience of pain and pleasure. The proof of consciousness is self-awareness. That today I know I am in Mumbai, or you know you are in your city. The pen doesn't know I am in Mumbai. There is no self-awareness. There is no experience of pain and pleasure. So consciousness is a symptom of the soul. Just like outside your house now, wherever you are sitting in your room, outside your room, there must be sun. Right? Most of you, as per the time zone, there must be sun outside, or in the daytime there is sun outside. How do you know there is sun outside? Not every day you go out and see whether sun exists or not. Sometimes you don't see the sun, but still you know sun is outside. How do you know? Because of sunlight. Sun is at one place. Sunlight is all pervading everywhere. And how do you know sunlight exists? Because you can see. I can see pen, that means sunlight exists. If sunlight doesn't exist and I have a pen in my hand, my room is dark, I can't see. Or if there is no bulb or electricity, I can't see. The proof that sunlight exists is because I can see. Without light we can't see. And the proof that sun exists is because sunlight exists. You got me? The proof that I can see, because I can see, so it proves sunlight exists, or tube light exists, or bulb exists, whatever, electricity exists. So let's take sun as an example, source of light. I can see, that proves sunlight exists. And sunlight exists, that proves sun exists. Because sunlight is all pervading, and sun is at one place, located at one place. And sunlight is emanation from the sun. In the same way, soul is in the heart, one place, one region of the heart. And the soul light, the emanation of soul is consciousness all over the body. And the proof consciousness exists is if I pinch, I will feel pain. That means consciousness exists here. If you cut nails, you don't feel pain because there is no consciousness there. If you cut hair, you don't feel pain because there is no consciousness there. But if I pinch here or cut here, I will feel pain because consciousness exists. So the proof consciousness exists is experience of pain. And proof soul exists is because presence of consciousness. So soul is in the region of the heart. We can't see the soul, it's very tiny and it's spiritual. Matter is made up of earth, water, fire, air, ether. Soul is made of Sat, Chit, Anand. Sat is eternal, Chit is full of knowledge, Anand is bliss, full of happiness. And we can't see eternity, we can't see knowledge, we can't see bliss, we can't see Sat, Chit, Anand by these eyes. So when the soul leaves the body, we can't see the soul. But soul exists. Just like we discussed, A is not equal to B, living person not equal to dead body. So soul exists. And this soul is spiritual, so no matter can affect. The soul cannot be burned by fire, the soul cannot be made dry by wind, the soul cannot be cut by a weapon or cut into pieces, or the soul is immovable, invisible, indivisible. And there are so many other characteristics which you can read in Bhagavad Gita. And this soul resides in the body for a particular duration. And when death occurs, the soul leaves the body and goes to another body. Then again the whole childhood, then young, then adult, then old age, then again death. Cycle of birth and death continues. But most of people don't know about this soul. They only know that I am the body. So whole day they take care of the body and they don't take care of the soul. That's why they are not happy. Just like if you have a parrot in a cage in your house and you take care of the cage every day, clean the cage, Every 6 months paint the cage. Save money to buy a golden cage. But do not feed the parrot. Will the parrot be happy? Not at all. So soul is a parrot, body is a cage. Since morning till night I am just taking care of body cage. I am taking bath for the body. I am wearing clothes for the body. I am decorating my face for the body. I am taking rest, sleeping for the body. I am going and earning money to eat food for the body. Entertainment, sports, game for the body. What I am doing for the soul? Nothing. Then how will I be happy? So taking care of the soul is called spirituality. And that's a science of self-realization, science of spirituality, to realize the self. It is not some dogma or some religion. This is not Hinduism or this not Christian or Islam. That is all religion. We are not talking about religion here. We are talking about science, spiritual science. That I am not this body, I am soul, and the soul has its own characteristics. And because we have never learned this in our school, it looks amazing and new, but this is very simple knowledge. So the soul changes bodies, and that is called reincarnation. Birth, death, birth, death, birth, death. That is called reincarnation. There are 84 lakh species like this: aquatics, birds, trees, plants, insects, and beasts, and animals, and humans, and demigods, and male and female. 84 lakh species in 6 categories. So we keep on changing bodies. Now soul is Sat, Chit, Anand, permanent, and body is temporary. So a permanent soul inside a temporary body can never be happy. This is an incompatible situation. Soul needs a permanent atmosphere. Satchidanand soul needs a Satchidanand atmosphere. That's a spiritual world which is Satchidanand. Just like a fish outside water. How can you make the fish happy? Outside water the fish in distress. Will you go and give some nice puri halwa to the fish and the fish will be happy? Or give a nice apartment or a car or some nice phone, iPhone? No. Fish will be happy, just put the fish back into water. Because water is the atmosphere in which fish can survive. The soul is spiritual, Satchidananda, but now it's in material world which is matter. In the material body which is matter, which is not Satchidananda, it's Asat, Achit, Niranand. So just like fish outside water cannot be happy, soul outside spiritual atmosphere cannot be happy. So we cannot be happy in this material world even if we try everything. Many people think I go to the supermarket or I go to the shop or mall and purchase 5-10 items and bring home, I will be happy. But does that give shopping happiness? Does that object give happiness? Arey, the very owner of the mall who has lakhs of products is not happy with his stock. How will you be happy by taking few items of the lakh of items he has? He has millions of products and he is not happy, and you take 5 out of those millions, think I will be happy? No, there is no happiness in this world. So in order to escape this cycle of birth and death, which is temporary body, permanent soul in temporary body, incompatible situation, in order to escape this incompatible situation and go back to the compatible situation where soul gets a spiritual body, in this whole cycle of birth and death, there is one loophole, and that's the human form of life. In the human body, this escape is possible. Just like if you are trapped in a room, out of the 4 walls and ceiling and floor, there is only one place where you can come out, that is a door. Anywhere else you go, you cannot come out. You need to go to the door, otherwise you will be trapped inside. So in the same way, the door for liberation is the human form of life. And if we follow a particular process, then we can get liberated. The soul can come out of this entanglement of cycle of birth and death. an escape for liberation, and that is the goal of life in human form of life. So when we get human form, the first item is Athato Brahma Jigyasa. Now we should inquire about soul, spiritual, Brahm, God, Krishna. If we don't do that, we are animals. Animals eat, humans eat, animals sleep, humans sleep, animals mate, humans mate, animals depend, humans depend. Then what is the difference? Just that they eat on the footpath, on the street, and we eat on a dining table, does that make a difference? No, eating is eating. They sleep on the road and we sleep on nice beds with pillow and bedsheet and AC. Does that make a difference? No. Sleep is sleep. Once you sleep, you don't know where are you sleeping. Just that they produce children and mate on the streets and we do it in closed apartments, that doesn't make the activity different. Or just that they depend with nails and teeth and we depend with security and locks and guns or weapons or tanks or bombs. Depends. So what is the difference? Is the difference they are walking on 4 legs and we are walking on 4 tires? No, the difference is because we have higher responsibility in the human form, and that higher responsibility is to know our relationship with God, Krishna. To know I am not this body, I am soul. So then the next question comes from where did the soul come? And that we'll discuss in the next class, the source of soul. Okay, we will end here. Thank you very much. We'll have questions now. Any questions you have, you may please unmute and ask. Yes, please go ahead.
Prabhu, does it mean that this human life in the 8,432,000 species, this human life is the most highest?
Most pious, yes.
Most highest.
Most highest. Well, the highest is some. I don't want to say yes, though it is yes in terms of consciousness. Humans are better than animals, but the reason I don't want to say yes is because many humans today are acting worse than animals. So they are worse than animals. How can they be highest? So the opportunity is highest in human form. The intelligence is developed, the faculties are developed. The opportunity is highest to realize oneself. But many people today are acting worse than animals because they don't want to use the human form. So is that okay, Mataji?
Yes, Prabhu.
So
Sorry, again, you are saying that this human form is the only form that self-realization can occur in the entire universe, this human form.
right. We can't give the same class to a dog or a cat or a lizard or a snake or a bird or a tree or a fish, and they will understand this, that my goal of life is self-realization. It's only in human form of life this process is possible of self-realization, to escape the cycle of birth and death and get liberated.
Even the other life forms on other planets.
Yes.
On other universes.
Yes, even in demigod planets, Svargaloka, even in Brahmaloka, even they want to become humans. Even they want to come in VIT and attend this Bhakti Sadachar and Bhakti Shastri course, because only in this human form it is possible. In lower planetary systems, in Narakloka and all, there is so much distress, there is so much suffering that they can't practice bhakti. In higher planetary system, there is so much somras, there is so much happiness that they can't practice bhakti. Only in human form there is a balance of happiness and distress in such a way that one can easily practice bhakti. So demigods also can practice bhakti, but human form is most suitable. Okay, yes. Any more questions? Yeah, I stopped early because I wanted to see if there are any questions. Yeah. Yes, go ahead, please, Amrita Mataji.
Prabhuji, in the previous question that the animal, like the humans have the that we can realize that we are souls and we are not this body, but animals don't have this kind of realization. But in some lectures I have listened that there are some animals, there are some stories that they just come to some Bhagavatam Katha or they just listen and they just leave their body. Like recently I heard one lecture that one Maharaj was telling that one calf took birth and he was sitting, like the day from one he was sitting in the Bhagavatam Katha, and like that by the end of that Bhagavatam Katha he left his body. So he might be a devotee soul or a pious soul. So are there some exceptions like this can happen, that the animals can also have some realization like this?
Yeah, that's an exception. In general, animals do not have that intellectual capability to practice the process of bhakti. But any such thing is an exception. Like there is example of Bharat Maharaj who became deer next life. But he remembered his past life that I fell down. So he would not play with other deers, but he will sit outside the ashram of Rishi Munis and eat the prasadam they throw at him. So that's an exception. But we cannot say all deers are like that. Hanuman is a monkey, but we cannot say all monkeys are self-realized like that. So we can't put deers and calves and monkeys in one room and give them a Bhagavatam class or Bhagavad Gita class and they will practice the process of bhakti. So exceptions are there, but in general the facility is given to human form in the human body. Is that okay?
Yeah, and it's also said that while you chant, you should chant loudly so that the nearby, some like even the bacteria or small living beings, if they listen to it, they might get liberated and they might be. So how can we relate it?
Yeah, so that's called Agya Sukruti, that we are giving them benefit. They are not capable to chant themselves or imitate by hearing us, but they get benefit because the holy name is so powerful that when we chant the holy name, it goes into our ears, it goes into their ears also. They don't understand the holy name, but they manage to get purified because the holy name goes into the ears. Like medicine I take, I don't understand the medicine, but if I take the medicine, it will act on me. Okay? Yes, next. Oh, so should I?
Krishna, Prabhu.
Yes, Mataji, Hare Krishna.
Just now you said only a human form can practice bhakti, and out of the 8,040,000 species of the life, and there are over 40,000 human forms.
4 lakh. There are 4 lakh type of humans.
So not only this human being in this planet can practice bhakti, maybe the other human forms.
Yeah, humans are in this planet. Humans mostly are in this planet. And yeah, if there are humans in other planets, among these 4 lakhs, then these 4 lakh humans can practice bhakti. Okay?
Yeah, thank you.
Next question. Yeah.
Prabhuji, what does this 4 lakhs types of human means? What does it mean that 4 lakhs types of humans meaning?
Yeah, so even though the body is human, the gradation is in consciousness. See, if you compare any two humans, they may have body of a human, shape of a human, 2 eyes, hands, legs, whatever, but there is gradation of consciousness. They have 2 different consciousness, different kinds of mental status. So, because of this there are categories, and that categories are 4 lakhs. There are 4 lakh type of consciousness in which different humans exist. Even in a cosmopolitan city you go and just pick a bunch of dozens of people, you will see their consciousness is different, right? So that comes in 2 different categories. So like this there are 4 lakh categories.
So it is the categorization on the basis of the consciousness towards God.
No, consciousness in general, the thought process, the mental status.
The mental state. All right.
Okay, the likes and dislikes. Okay,
Yes.
yeah. Next, Hare Krishna.
If we are listening this, we are not body, we are soul, and we know that thing. But when the bodily situations comes, we suffer a lot because of that bodily causes. We can't remember we are soul. Why not?
Well, just by hearing is not sufficient. We have to practice and finally realize it also. Until we realize it, we continue to be on bodily platform, and because of the attachment to the body, we suffer, we have pain. For example, if I take a scissor and cut this cloth, will you have pain? The answer is no. If I take scissor and cut your cloth, you will feel pain. Now both is both is cloth, you should not be feeling pain. But this cloth you will not feel pain, that cloth you will feel pain. Why? Because my cloth. So the pain is not because of the cloth getting cut, the pain is because of my cloth. If I throw a stone at a car, nobody will feel affected here. But if I throw a stone at your car, oh my God, there will be a big fight. Why? My. So this is called attachment. I, me, my, mine. So because of attachment to the body, we feel pain and suffering to the body. If somebody says me fat, I feel pain because I think he is telling to me, but actually he is telling to my body. Or black or something like that. So it's because of attachment. This attachment is unwanted, but because we are attached to the body and things related to the body and people related to the body, we feel pain. If so many people die every day, we don't cry, but one of our family member die, we cry. Why? Because my husband, my wife, my son, my daughter, my brother, my sister, my friend, my neighbor, my. So this all pain is because of attachment, my. So we have to start coming out of that consciousness of me and mine, I, me, my, mine, and you have to become Krishna conscious. That's why these classes and these courses are there. That's why ISKCON is there. So then when there are no attachments, there is no pain. Okay?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Any more questions?
Yes, Prabhuji. So, what is the characteristic of soul for everybody is same?
All souls are same.
So, let's say when we say somebody, we say, oh, somebody is very positive minded person, or somebody is a little negative side. So, is it because of the conditioning, or is the soul is like that?
Soul is same, mind is different. Two people have different types, different qualities in their mind, but souls are same. It's a conditioning. Mind is conditioned.
So, at the time of birth, let's say, so all the souls or everybody's mind is positive, or is it like from the previous birth something has already come?
Okay, so let me explain one more concept. Just like a person may wear a shirt and then a coat, in the same way the soul has two bodies. The soul wears one body, that's called subtle body, Sukshma Sharir, and then he wears a gross body, Stula Sharir. So, That's called sthul sharir. Subtle means we cannot see and access through our eyes and senses. So the inner body, the subtle body, is made of mind, intelligence and false ego. Mind's job is to think, feel, will. Intelligence's job is to discriminate, take decisions and guide the nervous system for performing an action. And false ego gives false identity, that I am a boy, I am an Indian, I am a girl, like that. And the gross body is the body which you see, which has 5 senses: eyes, ears, nose, tongue, skin, hands, legs and mouth and other organs, and action happens in that. So when the soul leaves at death, it leaves the gross body, the subtle body is with the soul. And in the womb of the mother, a new gross body is available, but the same subtle body, same mind, intelligence, false ego go. So our mind, intelligence, false ego is permanent since we began. And this mind has lots of previous sanskaras, previous impressions. So the child born is born with that old mind and old impressions. And that's how he has different, even two twins born together, they have complete different thought process eventually. So a person may be positive, negative based on all these previous impressions. So this introvert, extrovert, positive, negative, aggressive, calm, this is all mind. The souls are all same, but now the soul is covered. So the product is same, the package is different. So I can have 2 pens in a different box. So it will appear to be 2 different pens. Of course there are 2, but they both are same. So all souls, millions of souls, unlimited souls, all are same. You, me, all souls are same. Satchidananda. But now we have different covering.
Okay. So that covering can be improved.
Yes, it
So
can be
some
improved.
practice of different, let's say, bhakti if we do, or any other process, from negative you become positive or things like that.
Yes, so there are 3 main qualities which influence the soul. Mode of ignorance, tamogun; mode of passion, rajogun; mode of goodness, satogun. Have you heard these 3 names?
Yes.
So when you are influenced with ignorance, you act without knowledge. When you are influenced with passion, you act with desires and aggression. When you are influenced with goodness, you act peaceful and calm. So the more we are in goodness, the more we will be better, positive. And we can be in goodness by having a lifestyle of goodness, by having habits in goodness, and by having people around who are in goodness. That's sadhu sangha, association of devotees. So the more we are in goodness, in association of good people, we'll become good. If I stay whole day with drunkards, I'll drink liquor. If I stay whole day with meat eaters, I will eat meat. And if I stay whole day with devotees, I'll chant Hare Krishna. So what company I keep, that will influence my mind. What literature I read, that will influence my mind. What hearing I do, that will influence. So whatever I take inside, what my mind absorbs, that output will come. So if my mind absorbs good things, output will be good. If my mind absorbs negative things, then output will be negative.
So
Okay.
it is possible to better your sukshma avaran.
Yes, it is possible to purify, it is possible to better, it is possible to become better, it is possible to become best, it is possible to become good, it is possible to become great. Mahatma, Mahanatma. It is possible much more than what even you can think of. You can become a pure devotee, servant of Krishna. You can go to Golok Vrindavan and dance with Krishna and sing with Krishna and have laddu kachori with him and forget this nonsense world. That is possible.
Thank you, Prabhuji.
Okay, next.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji. My question is more similar to Raghunath Priya Mataji's question, that how to be in soul consciousness always.
Yeah, so that requires practice. The more I practice serving Krishna, which is the duty of the soul, the more I will be on consciousness of the soul. So just like today, if you are already practicing Krishna consciousness, that's because you heard about it and you associated with devotees And before practicing, it was 0% practice. You were mostly on bodily platform. Now at least 1-2 hours of chanting and reading, we are a bit thinking of ourselves as devotee of Krishna, as soul. So from 0 to 2 hours we have come, 3 hours we have come. If you continue doing that, eventually we will come to 24 hours. So this is by practice and association. So we keep practicing, we keep hearing, and we keep associating with devotees, and that will keep us 24 hours eventually as a servant of Krishna on the level of soul. So it's a practice which we have to do. You must have heard that practice makes
Man perfect.
even woman
Makes man perfect.
right. Okay, next.
Hare Krishna Prabhu, just now you talk about when we feel the pain in our body, and because it is the attachment to this material body, and so does it mean that when we remove all of our false ego, and then we won't feel any pain in our physical body?
Well, yes and no. Yes, because there is no attachment, definitely there is no pain. We are neutral to it. At the same time, subtle body is still there. So we are not stones. We are not stones. Subtle body is still there. So some feelings will be there, but it will not disturb our routine in serving Krishna. Okay, there are people even today who are so much determined in their mind that when they go for surgery and a doctor cuts their body, they don't allow anesthesia, they manage without that, and they can tolerate much more pain because their determination is high. There are people even today like that who don't use anesthesia while surgery. Not everybody can do that. So the less attachment, the less is the pain. That's okay?
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Next. Yes, please go ahead.
Prabhu, we always listen that while chanting, if you chant properly, that will cleanse your heart. So, can we say that it's same that while chanting, it cleanses subtle body? Cleansing of subtle body, like
Yes, yes, we can say that.
So, the cleansing heart and the cleansing of subtle body is the same.
Yeah, when we say heart, we are referring to the inner region. Actually, the arteries and veins are not getting clean. There is no lust, anger, greed in the arteries and veins or the chambers of the heart. It's on the subtle platform.
So, it's basically the cleansing of our soul.
Yeah, we can say the mind basically. Soul is always pure, it's covered by the mind. It's covered by impure consciousness. So, we can say purifying our consciousness, purifying our mind. Okay? Yeah, next.
One more question, Prabhuji. So, at the time of death, does the soul immediately leaves the body, or can it wait? Let's say if somebody is near or dear to somebody, and if that person is not yet arrived, so can the soul wait and then leave? Can that experience be there with anybody?
Yes, that's possible that the soul is struggling to leave. Everybody's situation is like that. The soul struggles to leave because it doesn't want to leave, and there's a very deep attachment with near and dear one, and the soul has a very high challenge and high struggle. But such a situation is very painful, extreme painful, and because the pain increases, the soul cannot sustain inside the body. Because if the body is painful, the soul cannot leave. Soul has to leave. So it's a situation where the soul wants to stay in the body because of attachment, and there's so much pain because the near and dear one is not in front, that the soul cannot continue to stay. So sometimes the body goes into coma. Coma means the soul cannot stay also, the soul cannot go also. So coma. Or sometimes the death has come, but Yamaraj is still calculating. So many sinful activities have done how much punishment has to be given. So the body is put into coma. Okay, waiting period. Let me finish my calculation, how much punishment is to be given. So this happens. But generally, in the struggle, the person doesn't win because time factor is involved. And when the time of death comes, the soul has to leave, even if he is determined not to leave. So the pain increases in such situations. So this is possible that the struggle is higher when there is attachment to near and dear ones. Okay?
Yes. Okay.
Hare Krishna. Next.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, Dandavat Pranam. Prabhuji,
Yeah.
how long does the soul take to enter into the body? Depends on each person.
Yes, it depends on each person. If the soul is supposed to get punishment in Narakloka, then the Yamdutas will pull the soul, pull the subtle body, and take him to Narakloka and give him a suffering body, a Yatna Sharir, and for many years the Yatna will happen. Then when the sinful reactions are gone, the soul can come back to the earth planet and get an animal body or something. If it's a pious soul, the Devdutas take him to the Swargaloka, and there he gets an enjoying body and he enjoys for few thousand years. Then he comes back in the human form of life. And if it is balanced soul, not pious, much sinful activity, then he again takes birth in earth planet, and that can happen immediately also. So it depends. It's not fixed for everybody. Some wait. So some souls don't get body only. They are so sinful, or they commit suicide. So they become ghost. Ghost means you don't have a subtle gross body. You only have a subtle body. So the soul is covered with subtle and gross body, I said. Now the soul lives with the subtle body but doesn't get a gross body. It's hanging. That's called bhoot, ghostly body, cannot see. But that is very big painful suffering, because the ghost has desires, because mind is there, desire is there, feelings are there, thoughts are there, but there is no body to enjoy. There is no body to do karma, to fulfill the desire. It's like the ghost wants to eat rasgulla, but it doesn't have a hand and a tongue to eat rasgulla, only has a mind to desire to eat rasgulla. So that ghost suffers a lot. Then ghost tries to attack some weak bodies to fulfill his desire of eating rasgulla. So the ghost will enter some weak gross body, eat rasgulla, and then come out. So that's a very suffering condition. So that soul doesn't get body easily, continues to suffer for some time. Okay, Mataji, you had some other follow-up question?
Yes, Prabhuji. Prabhuji, so basically what I understand is this person suffers for his actions in this lifetime and in the higher planets, and also in the next birth. 3 times a person has to undergo.
300 times. Every time we have to suffer only. This whole world is dukhalayam ashashvatam, there is suffering only. So you suffer the reactions in this life, you suffer in Narakloka, and you continue to suffer next life. Yes. Okay. Next. Any more questions?
Yeah, Prabhuji, I have a question. I don't know it's relevant or not, but like in India, what we have heard of, like there's a Pitra Paksh that we say that's 10 days of Pitra Paksh, and it's say that they come to earth and you give donation and you feed to Brahmanas so that it goes directly to them. So how is it relevant? Is it relevant or not?
Well, there is a possibility that some of our ancestors may not have got a proper body or may not have proper facilities in the next body. And we have an obligation, because we are in their family, they have somehow contributed to our life. So this is a period where we do an online transfer to them. Just like my friend in another city, I may do an online transfer of money and he will get it. In the same way, I do a transfer through Vishnu and Brahmanas to my Pitras, and wherever they are, they will get it. It's like sometimes a dog you see on the street suddenly gets a roti. So that's because somebody, when the dog was a human, and somebody who is in the family of that dog when he was a human is doing Pitra Shraddh today, and now here in this street the dog has got a roti. So the transfer has been done through the demigods. So in Vedic culture they do that. to feed the ancestors if they have done some sinful activities and they are stuck in hell, or they have not got gross body, they are stuck in ghostly body, or they are not having some facilities. So through Vishnu and through Brahmanas and cows, I give them some facilities. So that's an obligation families do. So that doesn't mean all ancestors must be stuck, but they may be stuck, so we are doing that. If they are not stuck, anyway there is no harm serving Vishnu and Brahmanas.
So is this the only way to serve them, or any spiritual way is there to like
Yeah,
bring them on?
yeah. Every day we chant and offer to the Lord in the house. Our Pitra gets benefit by that. So we should worship cows and serve cows. We should worship Tulsi Maharani. We should feed Vaishnavas, invite them in the house and feed Vaishnavas. We should serve Vaishnavas and we should serve deities. By serving a pure devotee, millions of Pitras are liberated immediately. So we should every day offer to Vishnu, every day offer to Radha Krishna in the house, Gaur Nitai, Jagannath Baldev Subhadra. Every day offer to Guru Maharaj, Srila Prabhupada, Tulsi Maharani, cows. That will take care of it. So as Vaishnavas, we don't have to do anything separately. What our routine is, that takes care of it. Okay. Next.
One more question, Prabhuji. In previous question, you said that there are two souls who don't get their gross body and they just roam around and move and what we say, ghost. So there are also people who compose them. No? You say that black magic or something. So is it also like they're suffering because of their karmas? Like people are controlling them as a soul?
Yes, yes. That's possible. So whatever suffering comes to us is because of previous karma. So if my life in this body is say 70 years and at age 40 I commit suicide, then for next 30 years, which I myself destroyed my body, I will not get a gross body. So 30 years I will be a ghost and it will be a very painful situation. And those who have some skills, they can manipulate a ghost and give further pain and try to use the facility and power available to ghost to fulfill their sense gratification. Like even today, if an employee is there, somebody may use that employee for its own benefit, trying to control or exploit or manipulate. So there are people who can control and manipulate and exploit a ghost. Okay?
Hare Krishna, Prabhu. There are some devotees say that sometimes they can feel he or she is haunted by ghosts, and even some devotees said they can see the ghost. Is it possible?
Well, it is possible to be haunted by a ghost. Seeing the ghost is not possible. One may see a reflection or the effect of the movement of the ghost. Just like when the leaf is moving, I can see the leaf in the plant is moving. But actually, wind is moving, the leaf cannot move. The wind is moving and the effect of the movement of the wind is I am seeing the leaf to move. So it's possible to see the effect and it's possible to get haunted. And the only solution is one should chant Hare Krishna Maha Mantra, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. And one should keep his room, clothes, house, cupboard, bed, pillow clean. No tamogun, because ghosts get attracted in tamogun. And one can worship Narsingadev, pray to the Lord. Okay?
But there are some devotees that they have the mystic power. They can see the ghost. So how to explain this?
Oh, if somebody is like that, we offer our obeisances to them. It's not like that. Somebody can Lord Shiva or somebody can see a ghost, I can understand. He's Bhutanath. But generally, ghost cannot be seen like this. Subtle body cannot be seen. The effect can be seen. Or if the ghost occupies some body or some matter, we can see. Just the ghost means mind, intelligence, false ego. And these three cannot be seen by eyes. Okay, some other covering can be seen. Mind intelligence false ego cannot be seen by the eyes. Okay, Mataji?
Yeah, thank you.
Any more questions?
Hare Krishna Prabhu. I saw a documentary here in the US that when they experience near-death experience, they saw light. Is this light Brahma Jyoti?
No. Brahma Jyoti we can come in contact on transcendental platform only after liberation. Now also we are in Brahma Jyoti only because Mat Tattva, the material world, is part within the Brahma Jyoti. Brahma Jyoti is everywhere, but we don't come in contact. We don't have that senses to experience Brahma Jyoti. So what light they see is something inside their imagination or hallucination. Okay.
And they also sometimes say that they can see their forefathers. I thought that for the forefathers, the souls of the forefathers already go somewhere. But how come they can still see the souls of the forefathers?
There is some information in their mind which is being visualized. And I don't know much about this. There is not much written about this, and there is not much, of course, no experience I have. So there must be some visualizations based on some impressions they have on the mind. Such things don't need to be taken seriously. Okay? Hare Krishna. Any more questions? Okay, it's 9:30, about to be 9:30 a.m. That's our scheduled time. We will stop here. If there are any more questions, we can take it tomorrow. So we will continue this 7 days, 8 a.m. to 9:30 a.m. 7 days Science of Self-Realization course. 4 days this week and 3 days next week. So you can all join on time. And thank you very much. Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Bhagavad Gita ki jai. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Thank you.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, thank you, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna. Thank you very much.